Hi everyone, Amanda here. Um, so we finished court early today, and unfortunately I made it late again because of some parking issues. But we ended with school personnel today. So Jennifer Garcia, who I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with her name, is the teacher that was Gabriel's first grade teacher. Um, so she took the stand today and they asked her questions like how he acted and, what processes she took in order to report and who she talked to in regards to Gabriel. So she discussed her involvement with Gabriel and the progression of the abuse that she saw and what she did, what steps she took. So it started from when I walked in, it was a phone call, one of her first um, reports to DCFS, to the hotline, where she was reporting that he had told her that his mom hit him with the metal side of the belt, and sometimes his butt would bleed from it, and that he would always I guess after his brother and sister, that he would be next, something like that. And so at least that's what she surmised by him being next. And then later on in the phone call, it came out that he had a bruise on his under his eye and on his knuckles that weren't there the day before, and she wasn't sure where they came from. He didn't offer that information, but the buckle information is the first time he talked to her in regards to the abuse that was happening or beginning to happen. Not really sure, if it was, from day one, but it was part of the when he's decided to start confiding in her. And so that she talked about that, and about how when she would send home these like behavior notifications at the end of the day or at the end of the week on Fridays, she ended up always, like, when it at first she would write the truth, like if he had any behavioral issues, but she noticed that on the next Monday, like, there would be damage, or you could tell that there was something wrong. So she decided to start lying. So what she did is that she would always send home notes every week saying that he had a great day, he had a great week, or whatever, saying that he had great behavior and there was no issues, because she said that she just didn't want to see him getting hurt. She didn't want to, get him in trouble and have that, issue going on. So she would just lie. She also talked about how when he came to school and there were pieces of hair, just kind of like chunks of hair on his head, missing. And she said that she saw like little scabs in those areas. And then the following day, he came to school with this mohawk. But the first day when he came and he had all those chunks missing, the kids kind of stared at him and kind of looked at him funny, like he has a weird hair. Sorry about that. About his weird haircut, and you could tell that he felt embarrassed and like really humiliated. So then she talked about that the next day he came with the mohawk, which was better, but then the following day there was chunks of hair missing now from the mohawk with the same, like cuts. So then she, on each of those occasions, she showed those to the principal, and said, look, this is humiliating, and, what person does this, and apparently she had talked to Stephanie Rodriguez in regards to this haircut and said, well, what does the mom say about this haircut? And Stephanie Rodriguez was like, well, I can't tell you about that. And this is at this point, Stephanie Rodriguez had contacted the teacher and told her, if anything else, you can contact me directly, and I'll help, I'll document it, whatever. So at this point, this is where like all the reports are now going directly to Stephanie Rodriguez, not through a hotline. There's no scars being filed, going directly to the social worker, and she's under the belief that something's happening and that, that they're trying to help Gabriel. It's not until later when there's more damage and she sees like the black eyes and he comes to school with burn marks all over his face, and that she starts realizing, okay, there's something needs to be done, and she's trying to do something, but there's not anything really that she could do. The question is, did his teacher mention whether he came to school hungry? That's the thing, is that everybody kind of looked out for Gabriel, his coaches, his teachers, everybody. So everybody was kind of like feeding him anyways at school. And you got to remember, there's also the cafeteria, so all the kids get food at the cafeteria. So when he was in school, he had food. It's just that when he wasn't in school, that he, who knows what she was doing at that point. I mean, we do know some points in which, what she was feeding him, but we're looking at a kid that was severely malnutritious. So, yeah, you can't survive just off of the 1 or 2 meals that you get from school every day. And the snacks, like all the teachers and everybody was kind of giving him snacks whenever they had a chance. And there was even this talk about at some point in time that Pearl requested that they don't give him snacks. And she also requested that he's not allowed to have fun today. Stuff like that. Like, he's not allowed to play with toys today. And so that was that. But what I was going to say is, oh, shoot. There was, sorry, I lost my train of thought. They talked about, how they, she made sure to show the principal and other people. She would talk to other people in regards to Gabriel to kind of let them know that there's something wrong and that she felt very, unsure about his safety. She felt that, like, talking directly to the social worker, that this was something that was going to be helping, Gabriel. Isauro's occupation, he was a security guard. I know he worked at a Costco or Sam's Club at some point in time, but I don't know which one, and I don't know for how long. But he was he was a security guard. He was a wannabe cop. He thought he really wanted to pursue other things. Did Gabriel ever give full detail of his abuse? Well, I mean, just to his teacher as much as he could. But you got to remember that every time he told his teacher abuse and it got reported, that it would, it would result in more harm. So let me get through the first part of this, which is giving you the court outline details and stuff, and then I'll answer more questions. Sorry, I get distracted easily. So she talked about just the different scenarios in which she had contact with Isauro and Pearl, and how she was kind of scared of them because they were kind of scary looking, and just how Gabriel would come in and just have different marks, and she was really worried about that. The first 2 people of the day I missed. I think it was first 2 or 3, and it was a nurse and I believe a sheriff. From my understanding, the nurse was the last person that was kind of with Gabriel at Children's Hospital, which I've spoken to her off record previously, back when this all first went down, and she let me know that how difficult it was for her. So I know that she held his hand, she was there for him. I believe it's the same nurse, and all my heart went out to her, and it still does. So I know that they told me that she broke down on the stand today and she was crying. along with I believe another witness today, and then there was a sheriff, and then like I said, Jennifer Garcia. After that was the attendance clerk from the school, who Jennifer would talk to in regards to Gabriel, along with the intervention specialist, or something like that. I'm gonna kind of do a notes thing at the end of this, that has my notes from court, because there's some stuff I can't recall, and I'm using my phone, so I can't really pull it up. But there was this specialist who had like her own class, and it would be somebody who would kind of deal with kids who had behavioral issues. So if a kid, or not even just behavioral issues, but not being able to be in class. So if a kid was missing a lot of class or was being pulled out of class a lot, they would be able to go to this classroom and kind of, deal with this. Sorry, I don't know why my phone keeps interrupting, but it's annoying. So there was a specialist that the kids could go to. So I guess he had come into the classroom one day and saw that other kids could be in there playing and whatnot. And then he became interested in that, and would come into the classroom to come play with other kids and stuff like that. And it was kind of like a safe haven for him. There was a couple of behavioral issues that she documented. One was even documented from the school that he was at previously. But I mean, obviously there was some kind of issues going on, behavioral and otherwise, which were documented. And like I said, the attendance clerk was there, and she talked about how when she told Jennifer Garcia that Gabriel was no longer coming back, and then there was like this whole, that he was moving to Texas, so she kind of flagged it. And then the principal got involved, and he was kind of worried, so he asked the security officer. And in that area, they have one security officer, and it's actually a sheriff who's in charge of kind of truancy and all in like 3 or 4 different schools out there. So they asked him to go check in on Gabriel, and he went to the house that was on file, and was told that Gabriel had moved to Texas. So this is obviously the time leading up into where they were doing the worst, and he wasn't eating well. So with that being said, I'll start answering the questions now. The teachers could have had him rescued at a fire station. They would have checked him over good. Do not understand why he went home. See, Jim, the problem is that, as a mandated reporter, they're obligated to, call the hotline and do the report. So when the teacher who didn't receive a ton of guidance, unfortunately, but when she called the hotline and she was contacted by the social worker, and she kept making her phone calls to the social worker, she believed at that point in time that something was being done, because there was no way for her to know that, the social workers were actually just not doing their jobs, not actually checking them. There was no way for her to know. So when she asked the social worker, what did the mom say about the haircut, and she says, well, I can't tell you that information. There's no way for her to know what's going on. It says there was a mention that the grandparents would have contact with Gabriel and if they reported any abuse. I don't know that they reported any abuse. He used to live with them, but I don't know what contact he had after he moved out from under them, or after she took him. On the Spanish news, you saw that the mom was saying that Isauro is innocent, I guess. So the impression that his mother knows. So I'm under the impression, especially after today, that Isauro's mom actually knew that he was being abused. knew full well, um, when they talked about the people on the emergency card. I believe her name might have been on there, because I don't know her name. I'm just surmising that it's her. But people had to have, like, there, if she didn't know, then she was either blind or stupid. So that's what I can say about her. Um, can anyone come and sit in on the trial? Yes, anyone can come in and sit on the trial. You just have to maintain your composure and stay quiet and just obey the court rules. Um, what activities made up Pearl and Isauro's day while the children were at school? I'm not really sure. Any information about the sexual abuse? Did the family know he was sexually abused, like the extended and immediate families? Do you think maybe because of the sexual abuse they thought he was gay? There was no sexual abuse. That was all a lie that was told to for some reason. I'm not really sure why that was. But there was no sexual abuse. The abuse only came basically from Pearl and Isauro, and any I don't know how much the family knew. I can only guess, and I won't even do that in a public forum. The workers are being charged with falsification of documentation, child endangerment, and there's two other charges. I don't recall all four charges, unfortunately. There's just so much going on. So, but they are being charged, and they have a pre-trial coming up December 1st, which I've put on our Facebook page. Do you think they thought he was gay because he lived with P uncle was who was no, the reason they called Gabriel gay, and it's the stupidest reason ever, is because he was a nice, sweet boy. He loved animals. He loved his mommy. And oddly enough, children, ugh, I know, but he loved her. He thought this is the way moms were supposed to act towards children. He didn't know any difference. He didn't. He grew up with his grandmother, so he didn't grow up with his mom, so he didn't know that a mom shouldn't be like this. There was no way for him to know. What is the background? I don't know. The only thing I know about Isauro is what I've been told by people, and I was told that he was a bully growing up. He'll pick on smaller children as often as possible. And that's what I know about him, is that he was just a bully. And that's why I say this was the perfect storm. You mix a bully with somebody who obviously there's something, I don't know what's wrong with Pearl, but there's something, obviously these two, it was just a perfect storm. I don't know. Yes, Gabriel was able to eat during school hours, and yes, he was having behavioral issues. Is Pearl's mom stand with her? Does she defend her? Because I wouldn't. My son or daughter of mine. Pearl's mom has passed away. I'm not sure if you have addressed this before, but where was Gabriel's real dad? Did he really leave a note in his desk for his mom? Okay. And was he buried? So Gabriel's real father was incarcerated. He has now been released as of the past, I believe, maybe year or less. So he has attended the trial. I don't talk to him. I've never met him, like, officially. My whole thing is to give him his space, because, this is... it can't be easy, to hear what happened to your child, especially while you were in prison. As of the note, there was a note left in the desk where it says, "I love you, Mommy. Gabriel is a good boy." And this was found after he died. And Gabriel was cremated. He was not buried. Did the social workers' records ever show reports take straight from Gabriel? No. They never took any reports from Gabriel. What kind of behavior issues was he having? It was a cry for help. He was having anger issues. Yeah. Was he being abused for years or months? It was for 8 months. Have you ever thought of joining an organization for the rights of children and protecting them? Me personally, this is my organization right now. It was months when he was taken by. This is the thing that I've been fighting for since the inception. Do you think that those workers will go to jail? I believe that everybody that didn't help him. I believe that everybody should be held accountable as well. Whether or not the social workers go to jail, I mean, I can only hope, because they are being criminally charged with felony counts. So being charged with felony counts does lead to jail. So as long as they're found guilty, and it's really up to you guys, as long as you guys keep pushing and keep, we keep this in the news and keep the coverage on, I don't believe that there's going to be any plea deals, especially in regards to Gabriel. I don't think anybody's going to be able to get away with it. The trial every day is around 9:30 to 4 p.m. Thank you for all the love. Are the siblings in foster care? Hopefully they are getting a lot of counseling. The siblings are getting a lot of counseling, and they are not in foster care. They are with their paternal grandparents. Was one of the social workers an ex-nun? Yes, she's an ex-nun. Is there talk that have to place them in segregation? I don't know any. In a text message from one of our reporters. Sorry. The siblings are being taken care of. They're fine. I take it that the sheriffs were not. No, sheriffs were not charged at all. Was one of the social workers there? Yes. They're talking. No, segregation. What piece? I don't know about the segregation. Sorry. Oh, the text messages. Those are actually going to be brought up more to light in next week. But basically, what was said is just kind of like hinting that she was looking up cases to for like kind of researching to kind of get away with murder. There was also talk of the abuse that they were doing to him, and it was kind of sick, because they talk about it like it's a joke, like it was just normal, everyday something you do to a child. It was really and that's just from the little bit of text messages that I saw. Today they discussed that out of 8,000 pages of text messages, they during this trial they're only going to show about 200. Pearl's abuse after. So the other kids did. They were abused, but not to the extent that Gabriel was abused. My understanding, and we talked about this before. My understanding is in Texas, there was the older of the 5. There was some kind of no, I'm wrong. Sorry. In Texas, one of the kids was reported as being abused, so there was an investigation getting started, and so in order to avoid being investigated, Pearl ran with 2 of the 3 kids, and the only reason she didn't take the 3rd one is because that day he happened to be out with his paternal grandparents, so she just left him behind. At least that's what I was told. And then she came here back to LA area, and I don't know how she met Isauro. I don't know where that came from, but that was kind of like the beginning of the end, unfortunately for Gabriel. Where was the box or his cubby? Which I hate both terms and thoughts. Was located in Pearl and Isauro's bedroom. So one of the things that really irritates me about this whole case, is that not only did they bind him and put him in this cabinet, but those people slept in a bed, amongst other things. Who knows, I'm sure they were probably, like, getting off on this, right? I mean, like, who the hell can sleep in a bed with a child right there at the foot of your bed, in a box? It's, I don't know, it's demented. The boyfriend has no emotion. Isauro has no emotion, just so you know. He doesn't look up. He doesn't make any expression. He has no remorse. I don't think he cares. Has Pearl shown any remorse about it now? Yeah, no, I don't think so. Do you know if Pearl had any type of contact with Gabriel's dad during the abuse, or did they not speak? I don't know. How do you know how and why she was able to get the kids back before? Do you know how and why she was able to get the kids back before the death of Gabriel? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused by your question, Harry Carey. She never lost. Sorry about that again. So she never lost custody of her kids. They were always in her custody. No, the kids were always with her, except for Gabriel. So there's 5 kids altogether. Gabriel was always with his grandparents, and there's a little one. I don't remember her name. It's a little girl, and she's always with her dad. I don't know if the neighbors are going to testify. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the things that I can say about this case is that it's not, hold on. It's not one of the cases that you ever kind of want to, sit there and be a part of. So Gabriel's siblings were abused. They just weren't abused to the point that he was abused. They, there was this one story that, hold on. There was this one story that the little girl, Virginia, came home excited, telling her mommy, I got a boyfriend. And so she got punched in the face after that and said never to tell her that again. So Virginia did receive abuse. Ezekiel did too. But just not as bad as Gabriel. We don't know why he received... Well, we do kind of know why. We know... don't worry, Kaylung was already... And Jalil's going to be also. I don't know if Isauro abused the other kids, but I do know that nobody was spared, if that makes sense. There's things that were done that, I mean, it's abuse itself, just mental and physical. It was more mental abuse. Like, she mentally abused them. She had them running scared, the kids. So, it's hard. Again, the reason Gabriel was abused the most, from our understanding, is because he was sweet and nice, and he loved his mom, and he, no, I get that. So he's a sweet, nice boy who loved his mom, who loved animals, who was cute. So she picked on him as much as possible, and because he wasn't like gangster enough for her or whatever, or for them, they picked on her. They picked on him. They beat him up. So there's not much else you can surmise from it. Like, they called him gay because he wasn't gangster enough, I guess. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they were affiliated with the band, a gang. Hey, Jalal, I don't know how to get rid of you, but this is a serious conversation, so if you can just fuck off, that would be great. Interesting. Okay. I don't know, like, I keep reporting them and trying to remove them, but it's really annoying. So, sorry about that, guys. The uncle looks like... Oh, yeah, I don't know. I did. I've reported him. I've reported them several times. I don't think I don't know if they're on suicide watch, but I think that they are going to be protected at least until the end of trial. No, not all the kids are from the same father, no. Oh, I've removed them a couple of times, but they just keep popping back in. Oh no, Isauro did not have any kids with the with Pearl, because apparently, I don't know. I heard that there's been a surgery. So, okay. Pearl's trial is set. Well, it sounds like it might happen like December, January. That's what we're hoping. How long does Pearl have a history with social workers? There are actually documents all over the internet, and I believe it's gone back. I think it was like 2010, maybe 2011. Because remember, she does have other children, so there was abuse reported on other children. Yeah, I don't know how long they were together. I don't know if Pearl's been visited while she's in jail. I don't really pay that much attention. I'm sorry. So, she probably has been. Um, the mental disability thing is, I believe, a tactic used by the defense attorneys. Um, and I think it's just because both of them are trying to escape the death penalty. I'm sorry. I've never been to jail. So I believe that there are ways of having makeup, and I believe she keeps getting money on her books. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, nobody understands why, especially after all the calls to social workers, nobody removed them. Okay, so guys, I'm getting kind of irritated with these two trolls, and I think that we've kind of covered everything for today. So let's look about getting together tomorrow and having to deal with these guys all over again. All right, thanks a lot, guys.